A single candle flickered in the dim light, illuminating a young man with dark hair as he gazed thoughtfully into the mirror. The young man with dark hair adjusted his tie, lost in contemplation about his next move. The young man with dark hair smiled as he looked at his phone, thinking about the medicinal herbs he would need tomorrow. The atmosphere lightened as a determined young man with dark hair instructed someone to prepare herbs for his clan. Fury's character gripped her phone tightly, unleashing a torrent of frustration over his message. A wave of frustration rolled over the young man with dark hair as he typed a scathing message to the demon he blamed for his trouble. Tears streamed down the young woman's cheeks as she clutched her phone, caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The doorbell rang, breaking the tension in the air and drawing attention from the young man with dark hair. He turned his gaze toward the door, intrigued by the unexpected sound. A glamorous woman approached confidently, ready to invite the young man with dark hair to the banquet. She said she had come to pick him up. A seductive woman with long hair smiled alluringly at the viewer, exuding confidence and charm. A confident young man in a stylish suit walked away, leaving behind an impression of charm and allure. A nearby woman admired him, captivated by his presence. Elegantly dressed guests filled a lavish venue, celebrating the arrival of a new psychic mentalist master in province. Watched the celebration, curious about the festivities. The lavish banquet buzzed with chatter, but one young man with dark hair stood in confusion at the unexpected crowd. He questioned the woman beside him about the number of guests. A confident woman shared her insight, revealing that elder held significant influence in the city. A glass of champagne glimmered in the light as he raised it, exuding confidence and amusement. A cheerful man with dark hair raised a glass to the guests, embodying the joyful atmosphere of the gathering around him. A curious group of elegantly dressed characters leaned in, captivated by the incredible claims made by President. Questioned President's astonishing revelation, unable to believe it was true. An older gentleman pondered, holding a glass of wine, reflecting on the exceptional talents emerging from each era. A gathering of elegantly dressed individuals buzzed with the excitement of a luxurious event. Two women discussed the evening's highlights, their laughter punctuating the sophisticated atmosphere. The elegant banquet hall buzzed with excitement as a confident woman gestured toward two prominent figures across the room. She announced it was no small event, drawing attention to the mayor of the city and the president of the Martial Association, observed intently, eager to understand the significance of their presence. The sophisticated gathering unfolded as an assertive speaker gestured towards the guests, expressing that almost everyone present held importance in city or province. The atmosphere was electric at the opulent banquet, where influential figures mingled amidst a sea of laughter and soft music. A charming woman spoke animatedly to an attentive friend about the banquet's prestigious organizer. A confident man addressed an engaged audience, asserting the superiority of psych mentalists over martial artists. A vibrant scene unfolded as a young woman with pink hair eagerly discussed, her curiosity shining through. She asked for help regarding him and the association. A curious character asked if he recently fell for a high schooler during a trip, her tone playful and teasing. The atmosphere turned tense as an angry character pointed accusingly at the pink-haired character. She insisted that her words were nonsense and questioned her motives for staying in the city. A gossipy man shared rumors about a handsome figure from a family of influence, with connections to the Eastern Military District. A woman in formal attire contemplated her advice regarding youth and relationships while holding a drink. She expressed that could date anyone without objection. Addressed but unseen, absorbed the woman's words with curiosity. A woman with pink hair expressed disbelief about the relationship with, questioning how anyone could fall for a high schooler. A woman in a blue dress sipped her wine, feeling annoyed as she dismissed the other character's concerns. A sense of longing filled the air as a woman with pink hair reflected on her wait for his return. She had sent him countless messages. Received unread messages on his phone, his expression remaining indifferent as he stared at the screen. Heavy silence hung in the air as he walked away, deep in thought about unanswered feelings. A concerned woman asked the pink-haired character why he seemed distracted, emphasizing their close friendship. Excitement filled the air as two female characters discussed the upcoming banquet, celebrating the birth of a powerful psych mentalist. A wave of ambition surged as a determined woman gestured passionately, her eyes sparkling with dreams. She expressed how a big shot could elevate their lives and families immensely. The receptive woman listened attentively, contemplating the potential of such a powerful figure. A curious young woman with pink hair wondered aloud about the age of the rank for psych mentalist. Three women discussed elders' age and rank, expressing doubts about the new person's youth and commenting on the many women in attendance. A worried young woman contemplated the uncertain identity of someone in the crowded gathering. A sense of urgency filled the air as two women engaged in a serious conversation amidst the bustling crowd. The determined and assertive woman urged to forget about the high schooler. A frustrated young woman with pink hair addressed someone off-panel, demanding to be heard. A surprised woman pointed towards a figure in the crowd. She exclaimed his name, her eyes wide with disbelief. A whirlwind of food items surrounded a young man with dark hair, leaving him utterly astonished and overwhelmed by the chaotic scene. A pensive young man with dark hair contemplated something important as he took a bite of food, lost in thought. A cheerful atmosphere filled the well-decorated room as a confident and friendly young man waved to the audience with a bright smile. An excited young woman with pink hair waved goodbye, eager to join her friend. Moments later, she called out to, prompting a curious response. A cheerful young man with dark hair smiled as he presented a plate of food to someone nearby. A commanding woman called out too, her voice cutting through the lively of the banquet. A playful woman leaned closer, whispering something enticing to as she held a plate of desserts. A tense atmosphere filled the room as she stood with a charming woman in red, both illuminated under the soft light. A young woman with pink hair looked surprised and confused as she questioned who another woman was. A young woman with pink hair felt a wave of confusion as she pondered the identity of his potential girlfriend. A shadow loomed over a determined and anxious young man as he gritted his teeth, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on him. A cheerful pink-haired girl waved at a young man with dark hair, greeting him with enthusiasm. He stood still, surprised by the unexpected reunion. A woman watched nearby, her expression filled with jealousy. A cheerful young man with dark hair greeted an acquaintance, expressing surprise at their unexpected presence in the city. Melancholic atmosphere enveloped the scene, as a woman gazed longingly at, feeling an unbridgeable distance between them. Warm introduction filled the air as introduced to Miss, stood confidently next to him, pleased with the interaction. Miss responded warmly, welcoming them both. Warm woman with blue hair asked a nervous-looking pink-haired girl why she hadn't introduced her to her friend. Friendly introduction unfolded as a sociable woman introduced Tu, who expressed her admiration for him and acknowledged feelings. Versed with an elegant woman at the banquet, expressing curiosity about a figure from the family. Smug character watched a boy with dark hair climb the stairs while clinging to woman's legs. She remarked on his reliance on his looks. Confident and charismatic woman stood with 2 others, revealing her intrigue and reputation. She mentioned how had been speaking highly of him. Charming woman holding a drink gracefully asked where he was from. Surprised woman with blue hair held a glass and looked at the male character. Frustration bubbled inside a young man with blue hair as he held his drink, questioning the probing nature of the inquiries directed at him. Stood confidently at the banquet, arms outstretched, commanding the attention of the crowd. He explained he was just a student from an ordinary family. Determined and confident young psychic mentalist addressed the crowd, stating that it was time to end them. Sense of unease settled over the banquet as a thoughtful and sensitive young man reflected on his discomfort with certain events. He expressed his feelings about the situation, indicating he found them distasteful. Heavy silence enveloped the dining table as a passionate and protective young man declared his vow to shield his family from humiliation or harm. Tension thickened in the air as everyone turned their attention to, concern etched on their faces. A nervous woman called out to him, her voice trembling with worry. Another female character covered her mouth, shocked by the scene unfolding before her. A third woman gestured towards, her expression filled with surprise and concern. Tension crackled in the air as a young woman with long hair glared intensely at an unseen target. Called out to, her voice filled with anxiety as he walked away from the group. An observant woman commented on his reaction, noting his pride and low self-esteem. Dismissed the situation, insisting he wasn't worthy of her friend. A smug character with blue hair disparaged, claiming many like him were unsuitable. A confident woman with long hair introduced herself to a curious young man, pointing to a statue nearby. A gossipy observer noted his close connection with, suggesting his charm helped him secure a place at the gathering. A woman shook awake, urgently warning her about a man who exploited women. Tense atmosphere filled the room as a shocked young woman with pink hair backed away, confusion written all over her face. She struggled to comprehend what she had just heard about. The anxious character in the blue dress gestured towards her, concern etched on her features. Advised the pink-haired character that facing harsh truths is essential, urging her to think carefully before making any decisions. The young woman with pink hair expressed her distress, insisting it wasn't like that at all. The couple walked away from a crowded event, their surroundings fading into a blur as they focused solely on each other. The woman held his hand, drawing him closer to her, felt emotionally engaged yet remained unaware of the bustling crowd behind him. A young woman with pink hair looked intently at, her wide eyes reflecting surprise as she observed him closely. The atmosphere shifted as he stood heroically, radiating an aura of brilliance that captivated everyone around him. A grateful woman admired him, expressing how he had saved her. The pink-haired girl, filled with fury, delivered a sharp slap to the blue-haired girl, who reacted with shock and defensiveness. A woman with pink hair reflected on her momentary lapse regarding, feeling a mix of confusion and disbelief wash over her. A surprised young woman with dark hair called out to a calm young man, holding her hand tightly. The atmosphere buzzed with tension as a confident character asserted his true nature, challenging the perceptions of those around him, expressed that he was not who others thought he was. Pointed towards President, his voice laced with surprise as he questioned sudden distraction. A confident young woman with dark hair prepared for an important event, her excitement palpable as she addressed someone named. Gestured at the guests, his expression a mix of surprise and engagement as he tried to capture their attention. He acted in shock as he observed President approaching the moocher, fear creeping into his thoughts about the situation. The apologetic man addressed, expressing regret for not knowing about his discomfort in crowd situations. Offered his assistance to President, emphasizing the importance of supporting those with great responsibilities. A determined man in a suit gestured toward the crowd, eager to capture their attention amidst the growing urgency. A confident young man stands calmly in a suit, drawing everyone's attention with an air of pride. The speaker introduced as the new genius from the Province Psychic Mentalist Association. The older man chuckled, reflecting on how his youth made him feel like an old fool. The crowd erupted in astonished chatter, marveling at the impressive young man hailed as a rank for psychic mentalist. The shocked woman sat on the ground, her disbelief palpable as she struggled to comprehend the unfolding chaos. Admiring gazes filled the room as a confident young man stood proudly, basking in the praise of his enthusiastic admirers. A cheerful character with long pink hair excitedly pointed at, drawing everyone's attention to the handsome and mysterious figure across the room. The crowd gathered, anxiously trying to gain his attention while he assessed their eager faces, desperately urged for help, worried about her friend's image. Dismissive gesture from left the audience in shock, their expressions shifting from eager anticipation to disbelief. Heavy silence hung in the air as the pink-haired woman confessed her feelings of unreciprocated love, her heart weighed down by resignation. A luxurious car gleamed under the bright lights as a young man with dark hair prepared to step out. He opened the car door with determination. Struck of the driver to head to city, his voice steady and assertive. Frustrated, a young man with dark hair expressed his dislike for high society circles while seated in the car, feeling trapped by social expectations. The yellow car stood silently as he contemplated the distance between his aspirations and reality. He reflected on wanting a simple life with family and martial arts. The building loomed large, casting a shadow as an unseen person knocked on the door. A cheerful character welcomed a returning figure, her face lighting up with joy. A warm woman invited a curious and reserved young man to sit down at the table. Moments later, she offered to fetch him a bowl and chopsticks. A joyful reunion unfolded in a dining setting, as a cheerful woman greeted with excitement. The girl raised her hand, questioning why the young man with dark hair had suddenly grown taller after just one trip. stood confidently, teasingly remarking about the smaller character's height, eliciting a frustrated reaction from her as she looked up. A confident young man with dark hair spoke against the sunset, reminding someone that school had ended and expressing hope they remembered his earlier message. Asserted his value, boldly declaring he wouldn't give away martial arts techniques or nourishing taunts for nothing. An ecstatic character grinned enthusiastically beside him. A warm atmosphere filled the room as held out a bowl of food, inviting R to eat. At a table overflowing with food, questioning his dad about the meat and tonks in the fridge. Dad casually acknowledged he had eaten them, asking about the tonks' nature. The thoughtful young man with dark hair contemplated a mysterious can, reflecting on its effects and feeling rejuvenated. He considered how much the can must cost, given its transformative impact on his body. A supportive and caring young man with dark hair advised his mom to keep drinking the medicinal drink his friend provided. Casual conversation unfolded over a table piled high with food. A caring woman asked R about her plans for the upcoming national exams. R responded with indifference, hinting she might not leave after all. A cheerful young man with dark hair held out an empty bowl, ready for more food as he decided to stay until the exams were over. A playful gathering erupted around the table, filled with laughter and teasing among siblings. A frustrated young woman accused her brother of stealing from her bowl. He brushed off her complaint, laughing that she was too slow. A humorous friend chimed in, saying she had only herself to blame. Another friend playfully urged the brother to slow down as there was plenty left. A cheerful young man with dark hair ate from a bowl, while suggesting they should visit a new house because the current one felt too small. Three characters reacted with surprise at the table, their expressions shifting as unexpected news broke the light atmosphere. A bright sky filled with clouds bathed everything in a serene light, hinting at unfolding tension. Moments later, a hopeful and determined young man stood quietly, taking in the peaceful surroundings. Luxurious interior gleamed under soft light, captivating the attention of those inside, marveled at the opulence surrounding him, feeling truly amazed. A confident young man stood in a lavish room, his excitement palpable as he sought validation for his recent purchase. He asked how it was received. Expressed his worry about the high cost of their accommodation, feeling uneasy about affording such luxury. Reflected on his recent achievements while seated in a modern outdoor setting. He shared how he participated in events, gaining a hefty cash reward from the train camp. Stood confidently, revealing a financial discrepancy to an unseen listener, mentioning that there was still a sum of $10 million not transferred. A wave of shock washed over the surprised woman as she recoiled from the startling news, held her gently from behind, concern etched on his face. Sudden revelation filled the air, turning curiosity into astonishment. The young man with dark hair was questioned about his surprising winnings. An air of playful mischief surrounded them as one character ruffled his hair, responded with dismissive sarcasm, indicating he found the teasing annoying. Air buzzed with excitement as shared the news of their new home with his family. He encouraged them to find a time to move in. A moment of pride enveloped the two characters as they embraced, joy radiating from their connection, expressed gratitude for their shared accomplishment. The sun shone brightly as playfully pulled towards him, excitement in his eyes for their upcoming training session. The atmosphere shifted as playfully pulled another character, laughter echoing in the air. He urged her not to resist his playful antics. Tense focus consumed the young man with dark hair as he reached out toward an unseen force, determination etched across his expression. The bright sun faded as he stood confidently, challenging the unseen opponent with an assertive demand to hurry and show their skills. Energy burst erupted from above, illuminating the gym with a fierce intensity. Stood, alarmed, as the powerful figure hovered overhead. Fierce confrontation ignited as a determined young woman kicked, her voice filled with assertiveness as she questioned his strength. Frustration mounted as the young woman with dark hair struggled to free her foot from his grip, questioning how she could stand. Defiance radiated from a strong-willed and defiant young woman as she asserted her strength, challenging those around her with unwavering determination. A determined young man with dark hair reached out, expressing his eagerness to teach someone important tips he had gathered. Curiosity sparkled in her eyes as she leaned forward, eager to learn about the mysterious martial arts. Powerful transformation unfolded before him as the girl stood confidently, her tears replaced by an unmistakable strength. Observed the girl, surprised by her new demeanor. Warned another character to follow his instructions and keep it a secret. The other character responded with eager agreement, ready to comply. A sense of contemplation filled the air as he listened intently to the woman's advice about his brother's recent changes. A sense of wonder lingered in the air as the girl reflected on his remarkable transformation. She thought he had changed from an ordinary high schooler. The dynamic figure struck a powerful pose, radiating confidence and energy. He reflected on how far he had come and the doubts he overcame. Heavy silence hung in the air as she expressed her doubt about her brother's sudden change and suspected he was hiding something. The confident young man considered how his martial arts talent could surpass his rivals with the secret in hand. Playfully threatened a smaller character, boasting that surpassing his brother would be easy, before the smaller character protested, worried about getting hurt again. Tension crackled in the air as a determined woman herself for an unseen threat. The girl with long hair caught her breath, while a young man with dark hair watched her with a slight smile. The girl screamed dramatically, her voice piercing through the tense atmosphere as a calm and collected young man stood beside her, seemingly unfazed. A tense moment unfolded as observed the distressed female character lying on the floor. He wondered if she could feel the effects. A woman with long hair expressed her excitement, saying her recent training had yielded incredible effects. Still, she couldn't believe how much progress she had made. A cunning plan formed in his mind as he contemplated how to keep his sister quiet about his secret. Explained the latest version of his technique while the puzzled young woman listened intently, trying to grasp its implications. A knowledgeable and persuasive young man explained mobile technology advancements, contrasting the outdated models with those still in testing phases, urging caution about sharing this information. A storm of emotions erupted as the defiant character expressed her frustration, questioning why her family would treat her like a lab rat. A playful young man with dark hair pinched the cheek of a cheerful character with animal ears. She reacted with surprise to his teasing gesture. Concerned woman gestured while expressing her worries about the risks involved, fearing she might accidentally become crippled from using her abilities. Tense confrontation unfolded as revealed his identity to the female character on the floor. She responded skeptically, dismissing the possibility of their shared traits. Playful young man with dark hair smiled at his friend while she expressed concern about their futures and the potential burden of caring for their parents. Playful young man with dark hair chased after his sister, who laughed and ran away, teasing him about being scary. Skeptical woman with long hair questioned about the incredible training technique he had, wondering if it was obtained illegally. Sheng crackled in the air as held his sister down, both caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. He insisted he would never break the law. She pleaded for him to hurry and release her, fearing for her life. Worried girl asked if he would face any trouble from his top-secret training technique, responded confidently that he would be fine. Tension escalated as he expressed concern about the consequences of sharing his secrets. The other character reacted with shock, questioning the implications of the revelation. Heavy silence enveloped the room as contemplated the weight of his choices. He reflected that it couldn't be helped. A moment of warmth filled the air as he shared his affection for his sister. She looked surprised, overwhelmed by his words. Warned his sister about the importance of keeping a secret to protect their family's lives. Continued his supportive guidance, assuring the female character that they would review the technique together thoroughly. Sudden realization struck as he discovered his brother's hidden activities. He thought to himself that this was what his brother had been doing all the time. Confident girl expressed her enthusiasm, claiming her innate talent surpassed others as she stood beside a supportive boy. Confidently walked away, leaving his friend with a promise to teach practical combat upon his return. Decorative sign on a door read Grand Sea and Sky, a hint of the adventures waiting inside. Confident woman addressed, apologizing for the wait while holding a piece of paper in her hands. Table piled high with steak caught his eye and filled him with astonished delight. The caring female character offered steak to him, fully aware of his preferences. He reacted with surprise, overwhelmed by the thoughtful gesture. Sat at the table, his plate of food in front of him, and asked about the company's recent happenings. Confident and persuasive woman explained the price of a muscle and blood-strengthening decoction, noting it was not affordable for ordinary folk. Confident man shared impressive sales figures with his listeners, highlighting that the first batch of 20,000 had sold out in less than a week. Confident woman enthusiastically promoted a martial arts supplement, expressing her belief in its potential to become a popular product in the industry. Smiled contentedly while brushing his teeth, feeling at ease with the tasks ahead. His discussion unfolded around financial matters, with a young man with dark hair expressing concern about their capital situation. His companion reassured him that they could manage for now. However, she warned that as sales increased, they would need to consider taking a bank loan. The young man felt the weight of limited resources press heavily on him. Calm and confident young man sipped his drink, reassuring someone that more financial help would come soon, easing their worries. Tense atmosphere filled the room as a confident woman turned away, leaving a task in the hands of the reserved and contemplative man. The curious woman shared a meal, discussing the upcoming national exams. He confirmed he was indeed preparing for them. Declared his intentions to stay in the city, focusing on exam preparations while entrusting sales to another. Anxious woman observed as an indifferent man sliced into a piece of meat, the tension in the air palpable and unsettling. He mentioned plans to move in a few days and promised to send the new address afterward. Atmosphere crackled with intensity as a young man with dark hair observed the imposing figure across the table, feeling both intimidated and curious. Realized the man's overwhelming aura contrasted sharply with his youthful appearance. In a moment of reflection, a confident and contemplative woman raised her glass, recalling her surprising faith in the young man's capabilities. A determined yet casual woman announced her departure, signaling the end of a conversation. Watch her leave with an indifferent expression. A cheerful woman announced that she had promoted Ma to store manager, her pride evident as she shared the news. Calm exchange unfolded as he felt assured, while the woman prepared to leave, acknowledging his decision with a polite farewell. Melancholic atmosphere lingered as he reached for the plate of food, his mind adrift in thought. Contemplated his business, considering how He's company was vital for revenue and his secret taunt creations. Spoke with determination, asserting control over what he had given away. Fierce determination ignited within him as prepared to forge the psychic mentalist weapon for his upcoming confrontation. He focused on improving his abilities to defeat the formidable female martial goddess.